Always looking forward to.
Well, we've got Austin who's playing with his hair, and he should stop now because he has been given a great head of hair,
Yes,
unlike
he has.
some
Yes,
people
he
I
has.
can mention.
If there's any way to turn his volume down a little bit, one way or the other, maybe he could do that. But what a tousle of hair, though. You are right. He's got a good-looking head of hair there. So, us two bald guys, salute you, sir. How are you this morning?
I'm doing well, Paul. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing good. I thank you for checking. Look, the C Smart text line is just overloaded with this. Johnny in Raleigh, Mississippi, $5.13 for diesel at Love's. Just heard from our friend Dr. Easterling, and he said at Love's hang on here, I want to make sure I get this right, Love's Truck Stop. Now, Love's is one of the places you get some normally lower price fuel. A mile outside of Bovina this morning, regular, not diesel. Regular is $4.09 a gallon. That is scary already. What is really scary is we may not have hit anywhere near the high on this one. And at the same time, the President of the United States of America refuses to do anything about it. At the same time saying, we feel your pain at the kitchen table. So your thoughts on how this is hurting the supply chain and everything else?
Well, Paul, I think probably the biggest thing that's important to talk about here is not all crude oil is the same and not all refineries are the same. And in this country, we are really set up along the Gulf Coast to blend a lot of heavier crude that normally comes traditionally from Venezuela, from Russia, or from Africa. And when you start cutting those supplies off, like Venezuela, and now you cut Russia off, the first alternative is Canadian crude, which would have come through the Keystone XL pipeline right into that breadbasket of refining in Texas. So when you stop that, you put a lot of pressure on other supplies that are not as heavy to come in, and those heavy crudes really have a big yield. You can get a lot of product off of them. And the reason you're seeing diesel and gas have a spread on it is in this country, we make more gasoline than diesel. Well, in Europe and a lot of the rest of the world, they make more diesel than gas. So we're trying to pull diesel out of an already tighter market that universally, globally, is more of a diesel commodity, more of a diesel using world into our world, which is more of a gasoline using world. And when you start pulling these different refineries and you start pulling their source material out from underneath them, the cost of production goes through the roof. And they're really not betting on gas today when they're buying crude. They're betting on gas next quarter or in a month.
Right.
Because it takes so long to get it in the system.
Well, in my mind, here's one of the conundrums that Joe Biden has put himself and subsequently us in. He's relied on going to war here with the people who have made us energy independent because it was Trump, one of his successes. But that said, he has 650,000 barrels of oil to supplant when he notifies Russia we're no longer going to buy their oil. 650,000 barrels. To supplant that, he's got to find another way to do it. So he's talking about going to Venezuela and dealing with a dictator to give us that gap. Because if he does that and makes that call to Russia, then our gas prices are going to get even worse. 650,000 barrels of oil a day is a minor splinter of the 20 million barrels of oil a day we use. We consume 20 million barrels, 20 million barrels every single day. So it's a very small part, but it's at a time when we can't afford a little under a million of that to evaporate. So he's got to either make that decision on Keystone or go to another communist dictator to find out what to do. He put himself in that situation, and it's not going to get any better, Austin.
No, and Paul, I think some important things to remember here are, we have a system here that's under attack when it comes to the future. And so a lot of the production, especially on the drilling part and getting out of the ground, has not been invested in because it's constantly under attack in the public sphere and in the political sphere. The refining side, let's use Phillips 66 down in south of New Orleans as a Phillips 66 Alliance refinery. After the hurricane season last year, they decided not to bring it back up to refinery. Now it's just a terminal where they use it for storage. There's multiple examples of chances that more capital could have been put back into the system, either on the production side or the refining side, that haven't happened. I mean, not to even mention the shyness private equity has, away from investing in any of these capital projects. You're not getting the investment in the industry like we used to keep it modernized and efficient, because people are afraid that in 10 years it's not going to be a good investment.
What has this done to, I have no idea what the amount of diesel you guys use on, let's say, a week or month basis. What has it done for you guys?
Well, we burn in the river northbound probably about 2,000 gallons a day, maybe more in a hard shove. Southbound, it's about 500 gallons a day. In the canal, and the ICW along the Gulf Coast, 500 to 1,000 a day. And it certainly draws the scrutiny on performance. Now, I'll tell you, being a small privately owned company that has custom equipment, it actually helps us a little bit because I'm able to show a larger gap in service when we burn less fuel than some of the larger publicly traded companies that don't have the equipment we do. All of a sudden, my performance kind of comes to the surface based on cost of the trip because we burn less fuel. So I use it as a sales pitch,
you've got to pass that. You've got to pass that on in yours, and they, whatever the product is that they're shipping, is going to pass it on to the consumers.
Totally. And in the past, when we got too expensive, you'd see pipelines start being built, or you'd see different applications to get the product off of my barge and into a cheaper mode. Well, now that you don't have those modes, that just trickles through the whole supply chain. They're not alternatives. It's going to be the cost of the trip's going to stay that way because you can't build a pipeline to supplant those barrels. And that's going to be the same with trucking. That's going to be the same with anything that uses diesel to move it.
Austin Golding Barge Line. I think Jim might have run out of gas before he got to the place where he was going to do this. I'm not sure. But Johnny in Raleigh, Mississippi, told me a couple of seconds ago on C-Spire text line, he's had to get diesel. Diesel was, Johnny in Raleigh got diesel, or is noticing the sign, $5.13 for diesel at Love's in Lake, Mississippi, $5.13. Now, most of the things that need diesel outside, let's say, a Volkswagen or something, are bigger trucks. And they hold what? Some of them 50 to 100 or more. If they've got dual tanks, that's more than people make in a month in some places in this country. So it's a little bit scary. And how this is going to bring us down as far as the economy itself, and it's being reflected on Wall Street, as you know. So where do we go from here, Austin? What's next?
Well, I think you're right. I mean, I think you're going to see prices continue to rise. I think you're going to have to see some kind of action to either limit the exposure to your investment when it comes to getting more refining capacity online and production online here. Something to remember, though, Paul, is a lot of the oil that we get products out of here goes into plastic production. So if you pull that into gas and diesel production, you're going to supplant a lot of other products. So the price is just going to shift around. So